Hey, you all had a good day today?
Yeah.
Good, good. Boy, after lunch, everybody's kind of tired now, aren't we? Well, welcome. This is Reading Strategies for Paraprofessionals. And like I said before with other groups, we cannot do this without you as our support. I can't say that enough. I have talked earlier about one of my way back in 1992 when I first started. My teacher's assistant was Miss Pam, and I could not have made it without her. In fourth grade, I didn't have a lot of, I didn't have one-on-one with an assistant. But when
I'm sorry.
no, you're fine.
I tried.
You're fine.
You're not late for this.
But when I went down to kindergarten, I had one that was pretty much with me all day long. And it was wonderful. She was just the absolute best. Her name was Miss Pam, and we, to this day, we get together. And when I see her, it's just like old times, we go back. She made so many things for me and helped me so, because she had been there already, working with other kindergarten teachers. So she knew what was going on, and I was fresh out of college. She really, really helped me a lot, and she made, back then they made file folder games. So she meticulously cut out all those pieces for the math games, for the reading games, language arts, colors, numbers, everything. She was just so wonderful. And she would read with my kids, and we would work together. She worked with the kids as I worked with the kids. So, thank you. I cannot say that enough. You guys are so valuable within the school. So today we're going to talk a little bit about some reading strategies that could help you when you're working with kids one-on-one. Raise your hand if you've worked one-on-one with kids, if that's one of your roles. Okay, raise your hand if you work with small groups. Is that one of your roles? Okay. All right, so what is your biggest struggle? What is your biggest struggle when you're working with those kids and you're working with reading? What are some of the things, the snags that you come upon? Focusing? Okay.
Yeah.
Different grade levels.
Different grade levels, okay? All in one
They got
group,
one group, they're different ages and different grades.
okay? All right. So a lot of different levels in one,
So the reading levels are all pretty
okay? All right, I'm hearing a lot of these same things going on. Focus and different levels and how we can scaffold our support and help them. So that's a lot of the different, in the other groups before you, I heard some of the same things. So this is an engagement. I don't know if everybody got to do this or put this up here or not, but this is something that I like to do as groups are coming in, just to kind of get a discussion going. If you haven't gotten to come up and put yours on, go ahead and do that for me, because I like to hear from everybody. This is something that you can do in your classroom. As your kids are coming in, you can have something set up with the teachers taking a snack or taking attendance. You can have a question up there of the day, or it could be about the story you're reading, or it could be, just anything about the weather, or just something for some engagement. What was your favorite childhood book? And I'll go first. My favorite childhood book was The Boxcar Children. I used to love to read that series. And it really, I guess I was in the 4th or 5th grade when I started reading those. But one of the adults that I can really think back and remember having a big impact on me reading and loving to read was my 4th grade teacher. We read it in 1st and 2nd and 3rd. We read it in all those grades, and back then we had Head Start and kindergartens. But we read in all those grades, but in 4th grade she read to us aloud every day. And I loved that. It just sparked an interest in me. So if you think back to that person, I really strive to be, to spark that in our kids. think about what you could do for those kids, you know, when they try to be that person for those kids when they're coming into your classroom. Maybe some are upset, maybe some are having a bad day. Just try to be that person for those kids. So let's see what kind of answers we have up here. We have the wonky donkey. That is a good one. Art of racing in the rain. Is that about the dog? Oh, that's a good one. Little Red Riding Hood, Hatcher, is it Last Babylon? Am I reading it wrong?
No, that's right.
Okay. I don't think I've got that one, read that one before.
You have? You need
No.
to.
No, okay. All right, thank you. I like that. Charlotte's Web, The Night Before Christmas, Children of
Bird God.
Bird God Hill. Okay, I've not heard of that one either. I've heard a lot of Charlotte's Web and.
I don't even know, I've got a copy of it at home. I
Uh-huh.
managed to find it finally. I don't even know who the author is, but it's about these two kids that start this animal sanctuary and they live like in a jungle type area. And that's about all I can remember of it. I just remember I loved it.
Okay,
So,
all right, thank you. Magic Tree House, Goldilocks and the Three Bears, Green Eggs and Ham, Adventures of Tom Sawyer, Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark, Where the Wild Things Are, and Surprise in the Barnyard. So those are all some things that, some different ones. You guys came up with a variety of them this time. But, you know, these are just some roles some things that you guys do. Paraprofessionals are essential members of the educational team. You guys are, I can't say this enough about how important you are. As we're reading or thinking about reading today, one thing that we're going to do is go over the 5 pillars of reading. How many of you have seen this graphic or seen this, talked about the 5 pillars before? Okay, so we have phonemic awareness, which is really important. When kids are first learning to read, they really need to be able to hear. Phonemic awareness is about the hearing, the sounds. They really need to be able to hear and stretch the sounds and words. A lot of kids cannot do that. They can't hear those sounds. So that's something we may not think a lot about, but that's where we really need to start. All about that hearing. Phonics is understanding the relationship between those letters and those sounds. So bringing in the letters, the sounds, and the graphemes, that the sounds that the graphemes and the letters make. And then fluency is all about that accuracy, speed, the expression and tone, but it's not all about speed, because if you think about that, how many of you have ever seen a kid that can really read really quickly, but they're not putting the expression into it, and then when you get to the end of it, they've read 100 words per minute or something like that, but they don't understand what they're reading. Right, so think about fluency not only for speed, but also for the expression and the tone of the reading and the understanding. And then, of course, we have vocabulary, that's understanding the meaning of the words that are in that text, the content of the text. And then comprehension is what it's all about. Why do we read? We read to understand, and we read to comprehend, right? So that comprehension is so important, because that's why we do it, and making meaning from the text. So one of the first things that I want to focus on is focusing on print. When you see a child and they come to school and they say, I can read all of that book and I can read it with my eyes shut. Have you ever heard that before? Okay. So what are they doing when they say, I can read it with my eyes shut?
Memorize.
Yeah, they're memorizing the text, right? So it's really important that they are pointing to the words and they're looking, especially when they're first starting, that they're tracking the words and they're going from left to right. and encourage them to use their finger to track. And also, this supports that visual focus, and it supports the word recognition. Once they start looking and they see the word in one book and then they see it in another book, it becomes automatic. Once they see the word and over and over and over, then that word becomes a sight word, right? Because they see it and know it on sight. Okay. Also, left to right. When kids are reading, they don't always have left to right. It's not something that is automatic to all kids. Sometimes kids will start on the right side instead of the left reading. They just totally skip. Have you ever seen that? They totally skip the left page. Or they may start in the middle of the book, right in the middle of the page. So we need to really train their eyes to go left to right. And this is one way that we can do it. You can play fun games with toys like this. I use things like this. Now I don't put one color beside another color, like I don't do red, but I kind of mix it up a little bit. There's those little teddy bears that are in classrooms. What else? Unifix cubes. What else, guys? Connecting cubes. Just different objects like this. And when you start, just have that child sit down and say, okay, let's line these up, and we're going to start at the left of the desk, and we're going to go to the right. And then I want you to take your finger under each one, and I want you to tell me what it is. Red card, blue card, just name it all the way over from left to right. And just train, that way they're trained to go from left to right. Their eyes are becoming trained to recognize that we start from the left and we read to the right. What else do we do left to right? Yeah, we write left to right. Okay? So it's really important that they start reading left to right and then we were writing left to right. Here's some prompts that we can say. Can you name all the toys from left to right? Great job. Now let's try with some easy words. And you can do words or you can do a simple sentence. I like to use simple sentences. Like the little red hen jumped or ran or something like that. And have them touch under it and say, okay, let me do it first and then we'll do it together and then you do it. So do lots of modeling with them. And you're pointing left to right, okay, when they first start. But it's really important that they're looking at the text and not, eyes. I've seen this, eyes up before. Like when you're choral reading or doing something like that with the whole group and their eyes are up, but they're saying the words, make sure that they're looking and their eyes are on the text. That's so important. Okay, so what are some fun ways that we can help kids remember which is left and which is right? Okay, yeah, she's got, yeah. Do you see what she's doing? The L. Hold them up. Which one makes an L? That's your left. This is your right. Okay, what else do we have?
We used to do like left, right, and take them to the board and have them start with the left hand, then go to the right, left.
Okay. Oh, that's a good idea. Left, right. Okay, good idea. Anything else? Something that I did when I taught first was I had these name tags and I put them on their desk and they had like a hand and it had left and right. And so they knew that this, which was the left side and which was the right side. Those visual aids are real important for little ones. Also, I had it in the front of the room. I had it like on my board. I had the left, I had a big hand. Over here I had the right, had it up there, left and right. And when you're teaching, it's important that you're watching your perspective too. Like if you want them to do left and right and you're doing like tapping a word or something, make sure that your hands are turned where they're going to see you going from left to right. Because I have to be careful with that. I want to go like this. So I have to turn it and make sure that they're seeing me do it left to right. Okay. All right. Then strategy 2 involves phonics instruction. Using a lot of multisensory approaches, like how many of you have ever done the alphabet books? We did like, we used to do, as we said it, we traced it with them, and then we would say the picture or the sound. We would say, we had a book and we just simply traced it. We did a, apple, and we touch, or a, and then we go on through the book like that. But just doing it with multisensory tactics is real important. Like maybe doing some in sand. You know, do the letters in sand, and saying the letters and saying the sounds as you're doing it. What else? Shaving cream on the table. Okay. Somebody said that makes a mess, but guess what? It's a good cleaner too. So after they get finished, give them, paper towel. They can clean it right up. Anything else? How about the gel? Have you ever done the gel down in the Ziploc bags with a Q-tip and had them write it like that? A. Say the sounds as you're going. Okay. Is there any other ways that you can make phonics engaging? Here's one strategy that I like to use a lot. I like to use Elkonin boxes. They're special squares that help them learn the sounds and words. How many of you have seen Elkonin, or some people call them sound boxes?
Yeah.
Okay, so as you're stretching, let's say the word cat slowly. Say the word cat for me slowly. Cat. Kind of punch that last letter. Say cat.
Cat.
Okay. So then you're going to place a token or a counter underneath, and you're going to say, as you're moving the counter, you're going to say the sound. Cat. And then go back and sweep it. Cat. Cat. Make sure that they're hearing it not so segmented, because we talked earlier in the other group, and we were talking about how many of you have ever heard kids be able to sound it out. They can say the sounds, but they cannot give you the word. Okay. And sometimes I think it's so segmented, but by the time they're thinking about the word, they've forgotten what they said at the beginning, because their little minds are having to go, okay, what's this sound? What's this letter? What's the sound? So if we say it more continuously, I think they'll be able to hear the sound better. So say it like, as you're moving, watch me do a lot of modeling. Cut. And I even did the too much on that one. At. There's been a lot of talk about getting that U sound off of those but and the duh and the cut. So be careful with that, because that can throw them off too. So how many sounds did you hear in cat? Right, we heard 3 sounds in cat. And then go back and blend it together. It's kind of like a game for them. They like this because they think of it as a game. They like to move. They like to move the sounds, and they like to go back and put them all together. So here's sorry about the typo up there. Here's something that you could do. Once you get the sounds pushed, and you have that phonemic awareness going, and you have that decoding and all that, then you go to the writing part of it. And you think about, have them think about the word, and you have them write it. Like, okay, let's think about the word cat. How many sounds do you hear in cat? Let's do it. Cat, 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 there's 3 sounds. So we're gonna draw 3 boxes like this. And when you draw these boxes, you should draw them together because we don't want them to think that the letters are separate in a word. So it should be like this, and then you have them think about the sounds that they hear. And then you say, okay, let's go back and check it now. Let's see if you're right. Cat. Does that look right? Okay. Say it together. Cat. All right, let's do some practice now. You may need to come up and get one. I would like for you to work in partners. So if your group does not have one, come up and get it. Work with your partner. There's plenty of them up here, and grab a paper towel for an eraser. We're going to practice. I'm going to give you some words. Remember that there's only one box for each sound.
There's one behind me.
One box for each sound.
Yeah, I need.
Okay. We're going to do a little practice here.
Three.
That's right. That's very good.
Speak for myself.
Don't ask me to come in your room.
I don't know. Just any of them. I really did. No, there was only what, 7 of us in here. I almost was the one that walked.
Okay, are you ready? Here's some other slides about opening boxes. I just put those in there so you can go back and look at those later. But I want to do some practicing. Now remember, there's one box for each sound. If you have a word like shark, how many boxes would you have?
3.
Yeah. What's in the first box?
S-H.
What's in the second box?
A.
And the last box?
A.
Right. Okay, so remember, one box for each sound. If it's a blend, though, and you can hear it, each letter in the blend gets a sound, or gets a box, okay? Does that make sense? If it doesn't, we'll do some examples and we'll make it make sense, okay? So let's go ahead and get started with that, and we'll get there. I want you to do the word and. How many boxes do you hear? And.
Ooh, he's a lady.
We had 3 of them. Yeah, one, 2, I didn't do this one. And from 2 to 4. Skill for y'all, you know.
Say the word and slowly, what do you hear?
They don't have to be together.
Yeah, boxes.
Okay, are you ready? Show it. This is a way that I do some, just kind of a check too. Okay, you see there's 3 sounds here, and we can hear all 3, right? So it gets 3 sound boxes. And I know this does get confusing because a lot of people do like to put the A-N together, put the A-N. But remember, it's each sound, okay? All right, let's do lost next. Lost. I lost my homework.
Well, that'd be good.
Lost. And remember, if it's a blend but you can hear it, each letter in the blend gets a sound. It's a sound box.
I don't know about
Okay, are you ready? Show it. Show it. Ready?
Oh,
Oh.
Because you can hear this.
L, O, S, T. Well, you can hear that, listen. You can hear each sound in the blend. So each letter in the blend gets a vowel, okay? All right, ready? Let's do shop. I like to go to the shop.
Yeah.
Don't tolerate it. You can't, no,
You're
wrong.
No way.
wrong.
Yes, letter.
Okay, are you ready? Show it.
We got right. Aw, you got right too.
Yeah, you did, just like that, yeah.
Got it? Did everybody get that one? You guys are getting good at this. All right, let's think about black.
yeah, because she can't sound
That's what I think too.
C could be with the A. La.
You want to do partners back there?
Those stubborn
Oh, you need a new partner, okay. All right, are you ready? Show it. So why did the B and the L get a box by itself? You can hear both sounds. Yeah, you can hear both sounds. Good. Okay, the last one is sheep. 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 Like my little lost sheep.
Yeah, that's what I was.
I need help on that one.
Okay, are y'all ready? Almost?
I need help on that.
All right, ready? Show it.
Yes.
You got it wrong. I got it
Got
right.
All right, so you guys see how this can help your kids think about the sounds that are in words? And this is called encoding when you're writing it down like this. You're thinking about what words, what sounds are in the word, and you're writing it down. Okay. Now, we can get back, that's the last one of that one. So can you see, how can this help you when you're working with your kids?
I made 20%.
What do you think? How would this help you? Okay, sounding out words.
You hear the sound individual and they write it down.
Okay, write it down the
We
words.
use sound boxes, you know.
Okay, good. So this is probably within your HQIR that your district has adopted for this year. I'm sure there's lots of places to practice this in those, in your reading series that they've got. I don't know if I think every district is different in their implementation. Some are using the ones that they already had and some are getting a new one. But, you know, there's all kinds of material like that in your HQIRs. Okay, so the next strategy is vocabulary support. You're going to think about the words that are in the story before you start, okay? So this is, let's think about where's Spot. And I chose this one. This one may have been a little bit better because it has more words, but this one we can all see pretty good. But where's Spot? And I'm gonna go through and I'm gonna look at the title and say the title is Where's Spot by Eric Hill. And then we'll talk about the title page over here. But as I go through, I'm gonna say, let's look and see what's happening in this story. And I'm just gonna kind of go through and we're just gonna kind of look and we're gonna predict what's happening. What do you think's happening in this story? What are they doing?
Spot's a plan.
Okay, Spot's playing. Okay. What are they doing?
It's in the house.
Show them what's
It's in the house.
Or something.
Okay, Spot's in the house.
Looking for something.
Okay, and they're looking for something.
Hide and seek.
Playing hide and seek. Okay, what else is happening? Okay, and before I read this to the kids, I may pick out words that are in here that may be troublesome for them. So I'm going to look at this first page. What word on here do you think kids might have trouble with? Yeah, somebody said supper. Yeah, hasn't. Okay. Some kids may not know what supper is, right? A lot of kids may think dinner, okay, because we don't all say supper. So that may be a word that we think about. It looks awfully close to super as well, right? So we're going to look at that word before, and we're going to talk about that word. And then we'll go through and we're going to go through and read that story. And we're going to talk and see if our prediction was right. You know, it goes through and where's Spot? He's not there. Where's Spot? He's under the rug. No. Try the basket. So she finally finds Spot in the basket. Okay. So that's just one, you know, good boy Spot. And that's just one that I picked up that I thought had some vocabulary that we could pick out and talk about vocabulary. But another thing you can do is explore word parts, like say, okay, this word is retake. We see the word take in there, but it has a beginning, re. What does the prefix re mean? To do it again. So if we think about it, it's going to be to take again, right? So think about your prefixes, your suffixes. Also, some people create word walls as they're introducing new vocabulary. They put those word walls up. Some people have vocabulary notebooks. So you may have an alphabet book, you know, A, B, C, and then go through and have them write kind of like their own dictionary. Like as you introduce new words, you're going to have them go back in there and write that word, write what it means in there, and have that vocabulary notebook. What strategies have you seen to support vocabulary in your classrooms? Have you seen any that we've not talked about today?
Does you fly?
You fly? Okay.
Yeah, so the kids really seem to enjoy it.
Okay, good. Okay. Anything else? All right. So just really keep in mind that how important vocabulary is, to go back and think about what those words mean within the story. Okay, and we know before school starts, you help set up and the teachers go in and they create a print-rich environment. You may have a little corner for reading. You may have a table that's for reading groups. That's really important to have those things so that you can have not only whole group, but you can also have small group. And I suggest if you don't have some of these at your reading table, these are really handy for the kids to respond to whatever making words or whatever phonics activity you have for the day. These are good. This is something that we like to use too. Some come in, in just all red or all one color. Some come with a different color for the vowels. But these are good too to make words, and like you start with a word and you say, okay, if I change the beginning of cat to an R, what word do I have? So these are something that's really good to have at your group table as well. All right, and then we're going to model enthusiasm for reading because they really pick up on your enthusiasm. So, you're in there and you don't know what a help you are to your teacher. You're so valuable. Just model that when you're reading to them or you're reading with them. Just keep that, I really love reading. Show them, or I really love to write. Just always model that for them. And of course, we have that pre-reading activities like we did with the spot. Activate that prior knowledge. We looked through, we talked about the book cover, the title, we talked about the illustrations, and set a purpose for reading. What is Spot doing in this book? And so why do you think these are so beneficial? When you set a purpose and when you're thinking about background and vocabulary, why are all those things beneficial?
Because do a lot, it's gonna give them different things. Yeah, it'll spark their interest in it.
Right, sparks their interest in the book. And studies show when they're motivated, they learn more, And that's the same with all of us. When we're motivated, we learn more, right? Okay, and then we have, for some of the older kids, we have the story maps, the sequence maps, the Venn diagrams. And you can use these with younger kids as well. For vocabulary development, you can use the Frayer model. What does this word mean? Put the word in the middle. And what is this word not? So a non-example of the word. Those graphic organizers are really helpful. These are some things to avoid. When you're working with a child, don't tell the answer for the word right away. You don't want them to sit and struggle all day, but give them a chance to respond. Like when they come to a word they don't know, say, think about your story and go back and reread. Let's try that again and reread. Think about the letters in the word and what you see as you read across the word. You're reading those letters and thinking about those sounds. So a lot of times when we're doing that, we kind of reset their brain a little bit and we get them to thinking. Because whenever we tell them the word, who's doing the work? Yeah, the teacher or you're doing the work. When you tell them and the child, guess what? They get conditioned and they just expect you to tell them the word every time. But you want them to be independent and do the work, okay? And just remember to refrain from guessing words based solely on pictures. We don't want them just to guess, right? We want them to think about the story. We want them to look at the word. We want them to think about the sounds in the word. And we want them, left to right. All those things that we've talked about today. Okay. And then, of course, you collaborate with your teacher, right? This is just some ways that you collaborate. You're sharing your data with them. You're collecting data, right? I'm sure as the teacher is teaching sometimes and she needs data for, her tests or assessments and things, you're pulling one-on-one to do that for her. And I can't tell you enough how important you all are. You do so many things, reduce stress on teachers, you increase inclusion, you create a more supportive learning environment for all students. So just think about all those things that you're doing and how important you are in your reading development. This is just something I put in there for you to think about. If you want to investigate further about reading support, there's lots of online. There's one just for paraprofessionals and paraeducators, a reading series, to help in the classroom. It's fairly new. I was looking at it last night, but get on there and really look through those. There's lots on there online. This is just an example of some tracking tools that you might be doing in the classroom. And then, of course, you're supporting those struggling readers and building that rapport. You know, as we talked earlier, thinking about that person, being that person for those kids and building that rapport with them. Let's see. And then we talked about the 5 pillars, phonemic awareness. And I put a little bit of that in the packet for you. Phonics, fluency, vocabulary, and comprehension. Okay, and in the back, I put some sight word games in there for you to help you when you get back. When I was in the classroom, I had one that was already pre-made, but there's some here that you can do. You can, like if you're doing a certain book, or you have certain words that you want them to go through, you could just run these off and put those on there. Run 5 or 6 different copies of it. You don't want everybody bingoing at the same time, right? But then you can have your set of cards, and you just call out cards. Kids really love this. This is something we did a lot on Fridays because they love sight word bingo. Sight word hopscotch. This is a fun game. You can take outside, take sidewalk chalk, and instead of numbers, you can put sight words on there, and they say the sight words as they hop through the hopscotch. Sight word SWAT. You have to be careful with this one because I think this is even a game. I've seen this one. You can buy this one, or you can make it. You just write words on the whiteboard or large paper, and then call out a word and have the students race to SWAT it. But you have to be careful. You don't want. Somebody said they use pool noodles for this instead. So, you know, when they're hitting the word, that's probably the more safe option. Memory match for your sight words. That's always fun. I like to play memory. Sight word scavenger hunt, where you put the sight words around the room, and then you give them paper, and they go through and they try to find all of the words, and then they write the words down that they found. And then as an added, I would go back and say, okay, you found all of these words. Now read those words back to me. Read those words back to a partner. And in conclusion, again, you know, you're such a vital role. You play such a vital role in the success of kids in reading. And you know, as always, we're continuous learners. Just continue to learn and seek out new ways to help kids in the classroom. Just like, you know, we're all learning every day. I'm just a continuous lifelong learner. I learn something new all the time about how to help kids read. And I like this one. Every interaction is an opportunity to foster a love of reading. And just, I'm going to leave you with this. You don't have to say this out loud, but think about what's one strategy you're excited to implement in your role. So just think about that. Something you've learned today, maybe not even just in here, but maybe throughout the conference, what's one strategy that you're really excited to go back and implement at your school? And so this is just a little conclusion there. I do thank you again for all your dedication to kids. Just keep kids at the center and